Moondragon, aka Heather Douglas, is one Marvel character who seriously deserves her own show, special presentation, or at the very least, a solid character arc spread across multiple projects. What sets her apart is how she gained her powers, not from a lab accident or being born special, but through hardcore personal training and mental discipline. She's one of Earth's strongest telepaths, can move things with her mind, and even has the power to transform into a dragon. Her story is deep and complex, and if I had to break it into three main parts, I'd go with her origin, her alliances against heavy hitters like Thanos and Korvac, and her struggle with corruption, followed by a path to redemption. Heather Douglas was born in Los Angeles to Arthur and Yvette Douglas. One day, while driving through the desert with her parents, they happened to witness Thanos' spaceship landing. Not wanting any witnesses, Thanos blew up their car. Heather survived the explosion, but her parents didn't make it. Later on, she'd find out her father's soul was placed into a new body, turning him into Drax the Destroyer. Heather was found by Thanos' father Mentor, who brought her to Titan, his home planet. There, she was raised by the monks of Shaolom. Under their guidance, she pushed her body to its peak, becoming a highly skilled martial artist. The monks also trained her in science and helped her unlock the dormant psionic abilities within her. She eventually became more powerful than her mentors and even made mental contact with an ancient entity known as the Dragon of the Moon. The dragon tried to corrupt her, but Heather fought it off, an act that gave her a huge ego boost. Proud of her victory, she adopted the name Moondragon. What she didn't realize, though, was that the dragon still had a subtle influence on her mind. Heather's decision to start calling herself Moondragon didn't sit well with the monks of Shaolom. The name stirred up enough tension that Mentor had to step in and talk to her about it. Not long after that, she was approached by Runner, one of the elders of the universe. He offered to take her on a journey across the cosmos, showing her incredible sights and experiences. During the trip, they ended up on the surface of a sun that was set to go nova in a few years. When Moondragon noticed that a nearby planet was inhabited, she told Runner they should warn the people. But Runner explained that ever since he chose the path of total freedom, he could no longer interfere in others' lives. Moondragon wasn't having it. She challenged him, asking what the point of freedom was if it meant letting people die. When Runner couldn't give her a satisfying answer, she asked to go home. Not long after she returned, Thanos launched a brutal attack on Titan. He destroyed the monastery and wiped out the monks of Shaolom. Moondragon managed to escape in her spaceship and made her way back to Earth. When Moondragon first returns to Earth, she goes undercover as Madame MacEvil to secretly work on ways to stop Thanos. While doing that, she ends up creating some new villains like Angar the Screamer, Ramrod, and the Dark Messiah. In her debut, she pits Iron Man against Namor just to observe their abilities. Eventually, she drops the alias and teams up with the Avengers in their first fight against Thanos. She crosses paths with Daredevil, and though they clash, she's nearly killed by her former ally Kerwin J. Broderick. Using her alien pressure point techniques, she briefly restores Daredevil's sight and helps him out alongside Mar-Vell. During this time, she even falls for Daredevil, but soon heads back to space. She teams up with Captain Mar-Vell, Drax, and the Avengers again in another showdown with Thanos. At one point, Moondragon is considered as a possible celestial Madonna, a prophesied mother of a cosmic savior, but that role goes to Mantis instead. She continues her journey as an adventurer and briefly joins the Avengers, though her time with them is short-lived. She meets Hellcat and takes her to Titan to train. Moondragon later returns once more to help the Avengers fight Thanos again. When they go up against Korvac, she reads his mind and believes his plan to rule the universe is actually well-intentioned. She stays out of the fight, only for Korvac to end things himself by committing suicide. Moondragon heads off with Drax and stumbles upon a war-torn planet. Wanting to end the chaos, she uses her telepathy to take control of everyone's minds and forces them into peace, basically declaring herself a peace goddess. Drax isn't okay with this, so he calls in the Avengers. In the clash that follows, Moondragon ends up using her powers to kill her own father, which is a pretty brutal moment. Thor then takes her to Odin for judgment. Odin sees that she has potential but is full of pride, so he punishes her by slapping on a magical headband that weakens her powers. He assigns Valkyrie to watch over her. When Valkyrie returns to the Defenders, Moondragon is dragged along too. At first, she secretly tries to lure Danger to their base, hoping something will force them to remove her headband so she can fully use her powers again. Even though she's bitter about being stuck with the Defenders, she craves their approval. In a showdown with Asgardian trolls, she resists temptation and proves herself to Odin, who finally lets the headband fall off. But her win doesn't last long. The Defenders fight a huge monster made from mutated spores, and though she and Gargoyle destroy it, she ends up getting infected. Weeks later, the Dragon of the Moon reappears and offers to save her if she agrees to be its host. At first, she refuses, but after being worn down and betrayed by the Defenders' gossip, she gives in. Corrupted again, she turns on the Defenders. In the end, a group of heroes sacrifices themselves to stop her and the dragon. Even after all that, Heather's soul survives. She contacts her cousin Pamela, who helps create a new cloned body for her on Titan. The two team up for a while, with Pamela becoming the hero Sun Dragon. After being around in Marvel Comics universe for years as a major cosmic figure, Moondragon eventually becomes a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Her time with the team isn't super long, but the big deal is that she did join. That alone sets the stage for a pretty exciting direction in the MCU, especially if they go with the idea that Moondragon is actually Drax's daughter. Imagine this. MCU Drax, who thinks his daughter died at the hands of Ronan the Accuser, finds out she survived and became Moondragon, a powerful telepath and cosmic force. That kind of twist would pack a real emotional punch and naturally lead her to join the Guardians. Plus, with the Guardians roster getting a shakeup in Volume 3, the timing couldn't be better. Adding Moondragon now would not only make sense story-wise, but would also let her more complex comic backstory unfold on screen. After spending some time fighting alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy, Moondragon eventually branches out and joins a different cosmic team, the Nowhere Corps. This squad hasn't shown up in the MCU yet, but they made a splash in Guardians of the Galaxy number 5 when they swooped in just as the Guardians were getting wrecked by the Destroyer of Destroyers. In the comics, the Nowhere Corps are kind of like a cosmic emergency backup unit, stepping in when even the Guardians can't handle a threat. That concept could definitely translate well to the MCU. If the MCU introduces Moondragon by bringing her into the Guardians first, it would make total sense for her next chapter to be with the Nowhere Corps. That move would not only give her more room to grow on her own, but would also open the door to expanding Marvel's cosmic universe with a brand new team full of powerhouse characters. It's a natural way to keep the momentum going while giving Moondragon a bigger spotlight. Would you want to see the Nowhere Corps as a Disney Plus series or in a future cosmic crossover film? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon and other exciting upcoming movies and series. We'll see you next time.